So it seems that the launch of Battlefield 6 and ARC Raiders really kicked some arses over there at Activision, especially at Raven Software, because there's so many changes happening right now, especially for Season 1 upcoming, that in my humble opinion, a lot of people got scared, a lot of people are trying not to lose their jobs, and everything what I've been seeing, everything what I've been reading, especially this last post from Raven Software on Twitter. So let me briefly summarize it for you what's going to happen. So generally, they're going to change their core philosophy. They're going to expand the build diversity and making every attachment choice really meaningful, which means you will be not running the same freaking attachments on every single gun that you are using. So this is already a huge W. There's supposed to be a frequent meta shakeups to keep Warzone completely fresh, and it should be clearer and more defined roles for every weapon category. So for example, if you want to go close range, if you want to go long range, if you want to go anti-recoil, etc., it will have more impact what kind of attachments you're going to use. So this all is painting for me this kind of picture where I see that Warzone is becoming a standalone game in the future, or even in the near future, potentially with the implementation of the blackout mode, which we expect to have in early next year. And Raven Software put a lot of emphasis on the meta updates and the weapon pool. I mean, we all are sick and tired of playing the Kilo and the C9 for 10 months straight, or at least at some point across those 10 months, there were all the time some kind of meta or meta contender. Don't get me wrong, these guns are great, it's really fun to play with them, but for Christ's sake, I would love to have a little bit more variety inside the game. For example, in Battlefield, you can take any gun and you can still dominate the game. In Warzone, it's impossible not to use the meta loadouts. So I'm really looking forward how they're going to try to implement this and how they're going to shake up the meta, especially when they say they want to change it 4 times per season, roughly around about 4 times per season. And of course, the primary balancing will always be focused on the new Black Ops 7 weapons. They mentioned that the older chapter weapons will remain for nostalgia and variety, but I don't think that they will be any kind of viable. So ultimately, we are speaking about meta change, those Black Ops 7 weapons 4 times per season, which also leads me to the conclusion that we will have a lot of new guns coming every season. Otherwise, you will have the same rotational meta changes happening at some point after, let's say, 6 months of playing, right? Also, there's going to be a huge change to loadouts. So we all know that the attachment slots will be kept at 5 per weapon. The gunfighter wildcard will be removed. Overkill will be removed as perk and will be now a default benefit, which is a huge W. They're going to rework all these low-value redundant attachments for meaningful trade-offs, and there will be Warzone-specific attachment stats. And this is for me another indicator that they try to separate Warzone more from the multiplayer, which is a must in my opinion, if they want to continue having a meaningful Warzone experience for us as gamers. Another particular point which I like to highlight is that they also specifically mentioned the weapon category identity. So if you've been playing Battlefield, you know assault guns are great for assaults. You know that SMGs are working perfectly fine for engineers. LMGs are working excellent with you as a supporter, and snipers, of course, if you're a recon. And it looks like that Call of Duty, or better said Raven in this case, took a specific note about that, and they say, okay, they would like to give a clear class roles to all these guns. They also mentioned that the AR magazine is going to be capped at 60 rounds to preserve some kind of LMG identity, and we all understand this because we didn't have a single LMG meta within the past 12 months, which is the complete opposite compared to Warzone 2.0, where we had only LMG meta. You all remember the RPK. In addition, they're also going to buff the shotguns, so we're going to see a lot of more variety when it comes to close range, especially when the slug pump shotguns can one-shot headshots within max range, so this is going to be a huge W for everybody who loves shotguns. But this is not all, they're also going to rework the whole attachment system. Ultimately, the suppressors now will reduce visual recoil, which a lot of you have been asking for, and I personally also would love to see less visual recoil. So if they're going to implement it as they say, I'm convinced that everybody will be running suppressors from now on, which will also have a trade-off referring to the recoil. They also explicitly mentioned mobility versus stability stocks redesigned for clear identity. They also specifically mentioned the mobility versus stability stocks, that they also want to redesign them. They also want to redesign the recoil attachments to be fully rebalanced. For example, if you would like to have a strong control, it will require you to have multiple parts which are actually reducing the recoil. But also there is a recoil stabilization stat which is emphasized for finer tuning. So all in all, I think the whole meta is going to be shaked up heavily, and we will see more variation coming up in Season 1, especially when we go down the road. And while we're speaking about the weapons, let's also speak about the barrel redesign, which they're going to implement by a weapon class. So when it comes to the assault rifles, all the long-range barrels, will have better accuracy at range, but slower ADS in movement. This is now default. All the mid-range barrels will have lower visual and horizontal recoil, but they will have reduced velocity and aim walking speed, which in a nutshell means you need to have a second gun, which will be your close-range gun. Submachine guns, on the other hand, there will be a change on the mid-range barrels, so they will have better range damage consistency, but slightly a mobility loss. For example, if you would like to use them as a sniper support. The short barrels, of course, they will have high mobility and hipfire builds, and the ADS speed barrels, they will have fast ADS and less visual recoil, but slower aim walking. So there's always a trade-off depending on what's your playing style. And I'm convinced that this is the way how it needs to be, because you should be able to set up a gun the way how you like to play and not how the gun wants to be played. And they also mentioned the same thing for snipers. So depending on what kind of barrel you're selecting, it will either offer flinch resistance or reduced idle sway. And your barrel choice will also reinforce the precision on long-range playstyles. So, and again, this is all about your playstyle. So it's not going to be like, what is the current meta and these are the 5 attachments that you have to use, but it will be rather more, hey, what kind of playstyle are you actually running, and make this gun work for you. And another very important topic, which I heavily love, is that there's going to be like a lot of ground load changes, which means the ground load rotation will be updated regularly. And they also mentioned that they will remove the pistols from the ground load, which is a huge W, because we all hate it to drop and you pick up a gun and you see it's just shitty. And now let's try to summarize it a little bit. So the overall vision on that one is that there's going to be like a sandbox built around experimentation, precision, and intentional play, which again is all breaking it down the way how you play the game. And I think it will take a couple of weeks until we all understand, okay, what's the best attachments for each playstyle, or specifically for your personal playstyle. But once you have figured it out, it doesn't matter what kind of gun is the meta, you can still apply the attachments the way how you like them and make the gun work for your playstyle, which is a huge W and should be great for everybody who's casual, who is competitive, who is a content creator, or maybe for people who just try to have as much variance as possible. We are basically looking into a constantly evolving, diverse, skill-driven meta for the full year, instead of having like a gun which is telling you, okay, this is the gun, this is the 5 attachments that you have to use, never mind what kind of playstyle you have. And in my opinion, this is the way how it needs to go. Looking at this one here, I'm super confident that Call of Duty is coming back with Season 1. We have a new map on Resurgence, we're going to have a change on the movement, we're going to have a change on aim assist. I have no doubt with all these changes that we are in for a great fucking year. So make sure that you log in on Season 1 and you test the game and you provide your feedback how you like it, because I'm more than excited about this. I'm already so excited that I started streaming again Warzone like this week 2 times. And the upcoming week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to be dedicated only to Warzone until the update is dropping, and then I'm just going to be straight only in Heaven's Hollow and testing all the guns left and right and see what's working best. So make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button to stay up to date on the next updates. And I see you on the next one.
Can someone pop one UAV?
Oh no, Rashi got the kill? Yeah, I see.
I thought you were struggling a little bit, because it's taking a little bit long. So I didn't want to steal it.
Hey Dom, I'm doing pretty good today. Again, running the promo here for Easy Game, you know. Just making sure that everybody understands what Easy Game VPN can do, like this here. Now imagine if you're a really good player.
Are they under? Oh shit.
both on the stairs. Careful. Running up.
The last two, now finish this.
Where the fuck are they?
Be advised, you still have squad mates outside the safe zone.
Get the last one, everyone. Oh, Freddy bomb. Uh-oh. Let's go! Nice.
No, one more.
Yeah, and I got a
Get the
specialist.
Yeah, but nice for the Freddy bomb.
1v1.
No, he has Freddy.
Stay alive so your squad can redeploy.
Nice.
Let's go.
Wait to take
What a game, huh?
EasyGameVPN.com.
Yeah.